on that occasion with, I think it's his son, isn't it, who shares the car, Christian. So the cars make their way in half of the race. So it's Boxsters to the front, and now Roger Coy's gone very sideways, and he's spun, and he's tagged the barriers. So that's, yeah, that's not gone so well, has it, for Roger Coy?
That's on the inside at Palmer. He's not done too much damage, I don't think, so he'll get back into the race. Another car got sideways in sympathy with him as well.
That could have been the McHugh 944.
Yeah, it could be right, couldn't it? So they're heading down to Agostini now, the race leaders for the first time. And Roger Coy's got to go back going again, we can see in the background, but some shuffling going on down the order as well as the cars make their way out of that left-handed hairpin for the first time, then through the quicker left-hander at Hamilton. We await the race, the cars going back into our view at Williams, which they surely will do in a moment or two's time. But at the moment they are heading down to, where are we? Heading down to Brunel and Nelson, yes, the race leaders. It is the 51 car of John Walker that is leading the way then, and then it's the car that's on the outside of the front row next, I think, isn't it? So that's James Cayley, number 80.
Yeah, sun's out now, so that brief shower only mildly dampened the circuit, but it doesn't stop John Walker getting very sideways there.
Very cautious, aren't they, through Nelson?
Sam Callahan's up to third. He's made a good start ahead of the Felix Archer car. We've got another of the front engine cars that's gone off the road.
That's McHugh, actually, the 56 car.
Okay.
So it wasn't him that we saw involved with Roger Coy. So we're waiting for the cars to stream back through, but there's no grip at all out there, is there? That's the 42 car that goes spinning around. Darren Constant's Porsche 924. It's really hard to find grip at the moment for these drivers.
I think it was the other McHugh that went for the spin, Jamie.
Yeah.
And it's Steve. It's Thomas, isn't it, who's up there, as you say, over up the order.
Yeah, so there we can see coming through on the inside the number 26 car, which is Gabriel Yilmaz and his Boxster S, trying to make a move up the inside. 30 car is the one of Clayton and Edward Sampson. We're not sure who's driving that, but there's certainly a bit of shuffling to do. Now the cars have found some grip again as they head along the centre straight. 5
seconds. John Walker is clear up front in his Class 2 Boxster S, ahead of James Cayley. Sam Callahan, as we've got to say, is third. But yeah, it's Boxsters in the top 5. The best front engine car is number 35, which is the Craigo 968 Club Sport. Then Thomas McHugh ahead of Jamie McHugh in their 944s in that sort of unofficial front engine division.
Sam Callahan in third place, I thought, was being caught by Felix Archer there in the number 91 car, so we'll keep an eye for that. That's about third overall and second within their class. We'll try and give an update on the class positions as this race goes on as well. So we've got some Boxsters in this race.
Yeah, it's a good sort of budget way to go Porsche racing, isn't it? The Porsche Boxster, not the most expensive Porsche out there, but also a quick car.
That's John Westbrook making a move up the inside into the hairpin at Agostini.
I guess the 924, that was sort of the original budget way to go Porsche racing, wasn't it? That was a very successful one-make championship for a while.
It was. It was, you know, full grids and reserves and heat qualifying racing, all kinds of things at one point. A few decent drivers as well have gone through that particular championship.
Yeah, Ryan Hooker was the champion, I think, one year, who went on to race in British GT successfully. But here's our race leader, John Walker, in 51. And he, I think, is continuing to pull clear of the front row man, James Cayley. And in qualifying, the pole time was a 2:51. Well, the standing start lap was quicker than that. Just showing you how much drier it is now, despite that rain we had earlier. And now the track looking in pretty decent nick for our race leader, John Walker, who turns his way out of Murray's and accelerates down the centre straight. You can hear the 6-cylinder engine. If you say there, yeah, Sam Callahan has been caught now, hasn't he, by the car that was started by Felix Archer. 2:32 is the first flying lap in this race from John Walker.
Yeah, 19 seconds faster than qualifying, which was in full wet conditions, of course.
Last year we saw 2 minute 10 in this equivalent race in full dry, so there's still quite a bit of lap time actually to find yet. We'll see how close we can get to that lap record set by Jonathan Evans a year ago.
The number 30 car of Clayton Sampson and Edward Sampson seems to have made up quite a few places on this lap. It was 14th at the beginning of the lap, but where were they going to come through at the end of the lap? Up to 11th place now, so they made up 3 positions on that lap, and they are second within their class as well. Number 30 car, that is in the SP3 class, which is the up to 180 brake horsepower per tonne division.
We just saw there car number 94, which we believe was going to be started by Charlie McCarthy in his 968, although on the timing screens it's only showing Rob Holliman in that car, but he's a quick historic Porsche racer. Rob Holliman, multiple winner in the Aston Martin Owners Club Intermark races over the years. It's good to see him out here with the 750 Club in this all Porsche trophy.
And an all Norfolk team, that as well. Holliman and McCarthy. Oh, a smoky car there. Who was that? It's a little bit bizarre because it was halfway along the straight to Agostini. Was that the 94 car that put that out, which is the Holliman and McCarthy car?
I think McCarthy must be a novice. Roger Coy's been in the pit lane. His car's been taped up and he's heading back out into the race. Looks like we might have lost Thomas McHugh and James Harvey. They've not completed 2 laps of this race. Roger Coy's gone back out. He's a lap down.
Yes, and he's in 21st position, having lost all of that time. So we'll see if any progress at all can be made from there. That's the number 41 car. That's Carl Rossin. He started that car, the drive from Olney, sharing the car with Gary Campbell today.
Yeah, that's the first of the Class 4 cars at the moment, and they haven't won yet this season, so we'll see how they get on. The first of the 924s, and quite a long way ahead, about 20 seconds I think already ahead of the rest. 2 minutes 20 now for John Walker, so that's
sort of 12 seconds wasn't it, that
yeah.
they found, something like that. Third and fourth have gone over the line. There they are, number 44 Sam Callahan, and 91, which is Felix Archer, and there is only 0.4 of a second between them. Archer took another 0.2 out of Callahan that time. Callahan probably still best known for being the former X Factor star, but these days he's trying to make a real go of his motor racing as well.
Yeah, he had a start of the season, Junetto Super Cup, didn't he?
That's right.
I think budget a bit difficult to come by for a full season. But I'm sure he'll keep pushing on for that. But out in this all Porsche trophy, and had his win at Thruxton, which I think would have been his first win in cars. So
that's right.
A great effort that would have been. He beat Rob Hardy and Daniel Crago on that occasion.
Of course, we saw his father Mark out earlier on in the Sports Specials race as well. And yesterday, they've sometimes shared a car as well in different categories. It's the 91 car, that's the second, the car in fourth position then of Felix Archer, just behind Sam Callahan. So the two Boxsters together there as they turn their way out of Oggies and towards Williams then to, well, not to complete, but for the third time, going back onto the Bentley Straight.
Felix Archer with Stephen have had a top 5 finish this year, so they're looking to improve on that. They're currently fourth, and Felix Archer right on terms with Sam Callahan, and right in the toe. He's so close to him, you can hardly see him on the Alpha Live pictures. So close, these two, heading up into Grundle, and then they slow these Porsche boxers down into Nelson, the right-hander. And through there, Sam Callahan perhaps just extends his margin by a couple of car lengths actually over his closest rival. So they head under the dark skies there at Coram Curve. I think that's the weather we had at the start of the race. And where the weather's coming from doesn't look so bad at the moment. 51, the leader's in the pit lane. So John Walker is into the pit. So I don't think the pit window has opened, has it?
10 minutes. He's getting out of the car. So are we into the pit window for this race now? Yeah, looks like they're doing the driver change. John Walker getting out, and Christian Walker getting into that car. So John, who's retired from Ascot, handing over to his son Christian for the bulk of the race, therefore the remaining half hour or so, well, 29 minutes or so of the race. So they're into the pits for the first of the stops, but I don't know, possibly we'll be able to hear from John. Kieran McGinley is down there in the pit lane, so if we are able to hear from him, we will do so during the next few moments, but we'll let them carry on with their driver change. So that means it is then the number 80 car of James Cayley that has taken the lead of the race on the road. The battle that's on screen now is 44 Sam Callahan and 91 Felix Archer. That's now the battle for second place. There, though, is our race leader, and he's about 9 seconds clear of everybody else. We're watching now number 62. That's James Charambolides. Is through and out of the pit lane now goes the 51 car of Christian Walker, as it now is. So he has dropped as a result of that back to 11th position.
Yes, I think the pit stop's is meant to be stationary for 60 seconds, so quite a quick pit stop like we saw in Road Sports yesterday. Good battle here, down into Old Agostini. 35 there was under threat for 4th position. So the car shared between Daniel and Alvaro Craigo, the 968 Club Sport, just about hanging on, but Neil Blake's in one of the driver association's spec boxes really pressurising through there. So that's a real battle for 4th positions. And Jamie McHugh wasn't far back either. Or 26, Gabriel Yilmaz, who's had a good start because he started 17th and is up to 7th. But let's head down into the pit lane.
Yes, thank you very much. And I'm here with number 51 car, the John Walker. John, bit of an eventful opening stint, what with rain on the green flag lap. What did you make of that?
Well, it was really slippy. I mean, at least the green flag lap gave you a chance to feel what the circuit was like, and it was very slippy. Having said that, the rain stopped, the sun's out, but within about 2 or 3 laps, the track's totally dry.
And you've made the driver change quite early in the race. Any particular strategic reason behind that?
No, my son fancies having a few more laps today.
That's very generous of you.
Well, that's what dads are for.
Fantastic stuff. Thank you so much for your time, John.
Sure, welcome.
And it's back to you in the coverage box.
Thank you, Kieran. So we've had about 13 minutes of this race now. Sam Callahan has just done the best lap of the race at 2 minutes 20.50. The best lap in his class.
3-2 for Callahan.
3-2, yeah, I was reading the wrong line. There we go. 2:20.32 for Sam Callahan. So just a couple of hundredths faster than James Cayley, who's also done the best lap on that lap as well. So the gap 9.18 seconds between Cayley and Callahan. Of course, they've not yet made their stops, whereas the 51 car has. Christian Walker, it is now that's aboard that. He's still only, 19 years of age. He's at college, and he started racing in 2020, initially in the Mazda RX-8 Trophy alongside his dad, and they won their first ever race at Thruxton despite torrential rain. And the team, Mum, Anne Walker, she works as pit crew and is the team principal, so she will have been in charge of what went on at the pit stop down there as well, I am sure. On screen now you can see number 66, that is the car being driven at the moment by John Westbrook, making up a place. I think that was on the inside. No, it wasn't actually, it was a continuing the battle with the 26 car, wasn't it, of Yilmaz, Gabriel Yilmaz, which is number 26, the silver and blue car. So that is for 7th and 8th positions, and just ahead of them is the number 25 car of Jamie McHugh, the 38-year-old scaffolder from Battle down there in East Sussex.
35's been through the pit lane, so Daniel and Alvaro Craigo have changed drivers in their 968 Club Sports. That car heads back into the race now, which is still being headed by James Cayley, who's working his 6th lap of this race.
Or is that him into the pit lane? It is, and Sam Callahan is into the pit lane as well now. So that means that it is Felix Archer who has stayed out and has just done the best lap of the race at 2:18.64. So time's going down all the time. That takes the lead for the moment. So both Cayley and Callahan, the P1 and P2 class leaders respectively, into the pits.
Okay, so it's Felix Archer staying out then, the new leader, but like you say, also setting the fastest lap at 2 minutes 18.64, which is now just 4 seconds outside the Class 2 lap record, which went to Matthew Cole Henney here last year. There's Sam Callahan. I think that's his dad, isn't it, Mark, who's timing the 60 seconds down there in the pit lane.
Absolutely right. There's the Christian Walker car, so he was the first of the stoppers. So he'll be gradually rising back up the tyre screens, especially as other cars make their pit stops.
Yeah, so see if Christian Walker can come out ahead of James Cayley, because his last lap Walker was a 2:35 coming out the pit, which is not the quickest out lap, I wouldn't have thought. But he's coming out of Murray's as James Cayley's coming down the pit lane, so a gap which is pretty big is no longer that, and it's going to be very close, I think, as they get up towards Ritchie's. It's going to be Christian Walker ahead, but a much reduced margin now over James Cayley.
And Sam Callahan now heading back out into the race as well. As we see on screen, that's the 301 car. That was Gary Martin who started that. It's Fernando Gattino who is going to take the second part of the race in that 3.4 litre Boxster. 41 you can see going through. I think that's still Carl Rossin that's at the wheel of that car, yet to have the driver change. There's a black and orange flag being flown,
41,
the Marshal's post for 41, so that is for Carl Rossin.
Right, so there's obviously a mechanical problem with that car, so I guess they can sort of use that as their pit stop. It depends how much they've got to do to fix the car. Callum Lockheed's 968 doesn't look quite as good as it once did. Roger Coy's still at the wheel, the left-hand drive car.
It's a shame they didn't have any white tape, isn't it, really?
Callum didn't think that one through, did he?
No, obviously not. So there's the black and orange mechanical warning flag being shown to, we think, 41 on Rossin. So, what have we got? We've got 17.5 minutes of the race gone. It's Felix Archer, number 91, who's still out there. He's leading the race from number 54, Neil Blake's in second place. Number 25, Jamie McHugh, is third. The 66 car is in fourth position. That's John Westbrook. Gabriel Yilmaz, 26, is in fifth position. But there is the race leader.
Yeah, so Felix Archer is now making his pit stop to hand over to Stephen. We know he had that good lap on the lap before he came in. So see where that car comes out in relation to the other front runners who have already pitted. We saw Christian Walker ahead of James Cayley. We'll see if it stays that way when they complete their 7th lap. Neil Blake stays out, so he's the new race leader.
46 has been in as well. Michael Goodwin has handed over to Gary Goodwin, who was a long-time racer in the Porsche Boxer Championship, of course.
And he was one of the winners on the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit,
yes.
He should be quick at the wheel of that car.
So Neil Blakes has now assumed the lead in the SPDA class, number 54.
And here's potentially where the lead battle is coming from, because James Cayley is making his way out of Murray's, and he's not really catching Christian Walker on that lap. So Christian Walker is the leading stopper from James Cayley, but Sam Callahan is catching both of them, I would suggest.
Yeah, I think he is. And it looks like Callum Lockie's gone out into the race as well, having had their driver change from Roger Coy.
Yeah, Sam Callahan was 5 seconds quicker than James Cayley on that lap, on that out lap. And despite having to get up to speed, Callahan was still pretty much on the same type of lap time as Christian Walker. So Sam Callahan looks like he's got a time mark down the side of his car. Just
thinking the same thing. Sure it wasn't there earlier.
So I wonder if he can replicate what he did at Thruxton.
Stephen Archer's going back out into the race, number 91, having made his stop. So that was the car that was leading the race. It's now being shown 9th on the timing screens.
See the only Porsche Cayman out in the race there, the car that's shared between Paul Hicks and Trevor Bale. And they run in 17th position. I think Callum Lockie's possibly got aboard the 60 car now, so
yes,
see how quickly he can go in dry conditions. Despite the car being a bit damaged, the car's not going to be in any contention after that unscheduled stop earlier, so they're in 19th overall, but whether Callum Lockie perhaps can set a fastest lap, that might be his aim in this. There's the Samsung 968 Club Sport, the car that's shared between Clayton and Edward. They're currently 6th, I don't think they've pitted yet, so that'll have to be done soon. We're halfway through the race. A lot of drivers, they're choosing to make an early pit stop in this 40-minute race. We've only had half of the race so far. There's the Archers. They've made their pit stop. So now it's Stephen Archer in that Boxster now. See the sun shining once again at Snetterton, and in the sunshine is Karen McGinley in the pit lane.
So I'm here in the pit lane then with the 301 team and Gary Martin, who's finished his stint. Gary, I've already asked about the first couple of laps to these drivers, and that was an interesting green flag lap.
Yeah, so it was the green flag lap. You know, people were just trying to find grip, and they started to warm their tyres up, but then it started to rain, so you couldn't really lean on them too hard. But the first 2 laps were very dicey because there was just no grip at all, because the tyres are worn and the track was a bit wet. The 944s were just sort of, you know, just understeering, pirouetting, just spinning off. So I just took advantage with the Boxster, you know, being sort of mid-engine. And as it dried out, I got more confidence than the other drivers, and I was just going past loads. I don't know where I was in position on the whole race. I don't know. I know you said I'm second in class, but I just hope my teammate Fern Gattino keeps it in second or gets the first. So, but it was very good. It was really, really good.
So is the win a realistic aim then in the class?
Possibly. But I mean, it's the first race we've had with Calm. So it's the first race. We normally race with MSV and Turismo X or the Super Cup, but we want to race with like similar cars. So it's much better, it's much closer racing. So I think we're probably going to stick with Calm for the rest of the season.
Oh, absolutely. Well, we're all the welcome for it.
Okay, thank you very much, Kieran.
Thank you very much, Gary. And that's back to you in the studio.
So just over halfway through this race, 18 minutes left to go now. I think we've got a convert there to the Carmel Porsche Trophy as well, which is excellent news. And Sam Callahan has done the best lap of the race, a 2:17.11. He's 6th on the timing screens at the moment. He's only about 0.3 of a second behind James Cayley, but effectively 3rd overall, because the first 3, Neil Blake's, the Westbrook and Kurt Lecombe, the Yilmaz car, those have all yet to make their mandatory pit stop. So really it's Christian Walker effectively in the lead of this race, and James Cayley and Sam Callahan.
I wonder if that might have changed over the course of this lap, because as you say, Callahan has been lapping quickly around this Snetterton circuit, waiting for them to come into shot here into Coram, where they are now. I think we just lost that shot for a moment. We'll see if we can get that back to see. Yeah, because Sam Callahan is right, I think, there with Christian Walker possibly.
As we're watching on screen, the 66 and the 46 car in dispute. So that's they're actually on different laps, those 2 cars. 66 is the car being driven by John Westbrook at the moment, and now we're looking a little bit further back down the order as well. Callum Lockie's done the best lap of the race, a 2:15.16, so he's gone 2 seconds faster than Sam Callahan there as well.
And that's 4 seconds under the lap record in Class 3,
Wow.
which was set by Daniel Reid last year. But Callum Lockie, it's a shame that car had that problem in the first lap, because that would have been a real interesting comeback story in the second stint. Oh, it's Goodwin's parked it up, who we were just watching actually. So that's a shame for the Brands Hatch race winner.
Yeah, so Gary Goodwin out of the race. They were running 13th at the time.
And another one.
And another one as well. That's 40. So that's James Harvey, I'm afraid, that's out of the race now. He was in 12th position, so 12th, 13th in quick succession out of the race.
Haley car's pitted, so we saw that car perhaps struggling a bit after the stop. So James Cayley looks like he might be retiring, which for the driver we just spoke to, Gary Martin, it might mean a Class win comes his way in Class 1.
Yeah, it could be, couldn't it? And that is the top class, in theory, the most powerful class, because it's P2 class cars at the 4.
This is basically the battle for the win here, because Christian Walker's been caught by Sam Callahan. It's for 3rd at the moment, but these are the 2 leading pit stoppers. And Sam Callahan, who's been lapping about a second a lap quicker than Christian Walker, has caught him now, and they make their way down the Bentley Straight. And this, they've actually just been passed by Callum Lockie there. So Callum Lockie in front, he's not part of their battle because they lost a lap earlier, but the battle behind is, and they're side by side. Sam Callahan goes around the outside through Nelson, trying to get alongside Christian Walker here, which would be the wrong line really for the bomb hole, but it could be an impressive move if he can make it work. He's still on the outside for Coram. If he can hang on around the outside here, he'll finally get an inside line, which would be for Murray's, but Callahan decides the better of that. That would have been a bit too risky, I think. So, but he goes to the outside again, this time for Murray's.
That's not going to work, surely, is it?
But he looks so racy here to try and get past Christian Walker. Great battle for what eventually will be the race lead in this race.
Yep, so they're coming up to the line again to complete their 10th lap of the race. Only a couple of car lengths between them as they went over about 4/10 of a second. And as they go into Rich's corner, Sam Callahan has another look. Meanwhile, Callum Lockyer and another fastest lap of the race at 2:14.7. On the last lap, these two were lapping in the 2:19s and 2:20s. Now, nose to tail as they head around the Wilton hairpin for the 11th time now in this race. Callahan in the number 44 car, chasing after Christian Walker. So you've got two relatively young drivers here. Christian Walker, 19 years of age, and Sam Callahan in his 20s. As I say, the star of the X Factor, probably the only driver on the grid that's produced his own calendar in the past as well. He's going to have a look around the outside of the number 51 car of Christian Walker at Agostini, but as yet cannot find a way through for what will be the national lead of the race.
There's yellow flags here, so Sam Callahan really shouldn't be trying to make a move. He doesn't go past, so that's a good thing, I would think. So there's a few yellow flag zones out there because there are a few cars that are parked up, but now into the green flag part of the track. He goes around the outside again. Christian Walker's doing a great job here at defending, isn't he? He's very inexperienced, like you were saying here, but Callahan right round the outside through Williams, wheel to wheel now for the lead of this race, and Sam Callahan is completely alongside now. So these two Boxsters, they've got very similar performance in a straight line. They're both Class 2 cars. Callahan, though, will have the left-hand side of the circuit for Brundle, which will be the inside line. But for Christian Walker, he doesn't want to give this up easy. Oh, there's a touch between them, possibly. And they both saved a bit of a slide there. And round the outside through Nelson, Sam Callahan finally makes the pass work. It's taken a long time, but he's got through. 44 goes past 51. Sam Callahan ahead of Christian Walker.
Yeah, so Sam Callahan takes the lead of the race. It took sort of a lap and a half of tracked action to do it, but finally he's gone through. Now, is he going to be able to pull away in the lead of the race and leading Class SP2 as well, of course, turning their way through Murray's to come through to complete lap number 11 of this race. There's yellow flags that will greet them on the centre straight because there is a car that is stationary. So Christian Walker would be well advised not to try and make the move on Sam Callahan on the way into Rich's. He nevertheless has done so, and that one might need to be sorted out afterwards.
Right. Callahan now back into the green flag zone. Doesn't want to wait for a call in the official's office. He's trying to go round the outside again. He likes these outside lines, doesn't he, Sam Callahan? And this time he'll have the inside line for Palmer, and he slots back into the lead of the race.
He does, so it all sort of negates itself, that situation there. I think the car that they were passing at the station was the car that was leading the race, which was the John Westbrook and Mike Kirkler car, because I think that's the car that stopped up at on the approach to Rich's. But we're watching these two head through the left-hander at Agostini now. It's Sam Callahan and Christian Walker in that order, and they're the only two cars to have completed 11 laps at the moment. I think Neil Blake's, he's just come through as well, so he's yet to make his stop, so he's surely running out of time for that as well.
Yeah, we've only got 11 minutes of the race to go.
When did the pit stop window close?
Well, I can't find any official confirmation of when it opened or closed, so not unless it's open for the whole race, I'm not sure.
Okay, anyway, he needs to make his stop fairly shortly anyway. So the 44 and 51 cars still nose to tail, aren't they? Christian Walker not allowing Sam Callahan to get away here as they head down the Bentley Straight towards Brundle and Nelson. Fourth now is the Archer car, Stephen Archer, number 91. And fifth is Fernando Gattino. Do we get a change of lead again into Brundle? Not quite. Sam Callahan just about holding on through Brundle and Nelson. Yeah, fifth overall is the 301 car, Fernando Gattino, leading Class SP1 as well.
Yep, so, and then the car behind him leads SP3, which is the Daniel and Navarro Craigo machine. Class 4, that's led by Cole Rossin and Gary Campbell, so presumably they fixed whatever the mechanical issue was in their stop. But here come the leaders. It's a great battle this between Sam Callahan and Christian Walker. As you say, both drivers pretty inexperienced, haven't done that much racing, so it's great to see the battle here. And it does seem that Walker's car gets a good tow, and again, like a lap ago, no yellow flags this time though, goes up the inside of Sam Callahan into Ritchie's. Who's going to come out on top? It's Walker this time. So Christian Walker, with 10 minutes of the race to go, retakes the lead. It's a great battle between these two boxers. They've got some traffic to deal with now, and Sam Callahan brakes late round the outside, goes back through. So there's two lead changes in the space of 2 corners here on the 13th lap of the race. At Ritchie's, Christian Walker took the lead. At Wilson, Sam Callahan got back ahead, and he's perhaps doing a better job here through the traffic.
Yeah, that's right. The 42 car is Darren Constant, still a novice driver, Darren, so relatively inexperienced, but he's letting those quicker cars through. Darren from Kimbolton in Cambridgeshire, so relatively local, I guess, not too far, only about an hour or so away from Snetterton. Started racing back in 2018. Let's head down to the pit lane once again. Kieran McGinley's down there.
Well, I'm here in the pit lane with what was the SP1 leaders at the time. Bill Cayley is joining with me. Bill, what happened?
Just had a brake line go, just going into Rich's. Sort of think it went down just off the end of Coram and sort of went a little bit wide there, but just going into Rich's, just put my foot on the brake and there was nothing there, which is fairly interesting.
Yeah, fairly interesting indeed. I mean, that's, well, obviously not the result you wanted, but it was a strong bit of pace from you today.
Yeah, no, I can say I really struggled with grip, sort of in the, well, typically as soon as we went out it started raining and the tyres I got on just terrible in the wet, and then, yeah, just first few laps, the guy in front, you know, fair play to him, he was driving it brilliantly, just, I couldn't even keep with him, is you know, very, very impressive, and then he just got away, and yeah, then I think we had a good pit stop and we came back out behind that car because I kind of want, you know, you're here, you kind of want to win the whole race. So I think there was a good battle on the cards, and they're still battling away now, and it's just a shame I can't be out there and battling with them. But
it is a shame, but at least you're in one piece. But Bill, thank you so much for having a chat to us, and unlucky for today.
Brilliant, cheers mate, thank you.
Thank you.
Another fastest lap of the race for Callum Lockie now, 2-minute 13.64. That car up to 12th position. I mean, there's been a lot of retirements in all of that, but Callum Lockie is now starting to pick through the order as well, Josh.
And that's 6 seconds underneath the class lap record now. It's quicker than the class 2 lap record. It's only 1.5 seconds off the overall race, or a couple of seconds off the overall lap record of the category. So that's really impressive stuff. But what else would you expect, I guess, from the 2000 British GT champion?
Indeed. A long time ago took that GT championship, isn't it? But there we go. Right, leaders are still together here, aren't they? 44 and 51, Sam Callahan and Christian Walker. So only 15/100 separated them at the start of the lap. They're the best part of a minute now clear of the 54 car of Neil Blake. So we've still not seen come into the pits actually, but he will need to do that. He might nevertheless get the class win, less PDA, because I think there's only one other starter in there, and that car, James Harvey, has been a retirement. So it shouldn't affect the class result whenever and if and when he makes his stop.
Well,
So,
as long as it doesn't get excluded.
as long as he doesn't get excluded for not making a stop at all. Exactly.
So this battle continued. I think it's going to go right to the end. They're working lap 14. And I've got 3 laps probably at least at the end of this one.
Yeah, I would think so.
So they make their way down the Bentley Straight. For second now, you say that gap coming down between Neil Blakes and Stephen Archer. And Sam Callahan's a bit loose as he turns through Brundle. The car was moving around and he runs a little wide.
Is there something dragging under the car there as well? He's under threat now, so from Christian Walker, certainly in that 51 car. So the two boxers from the same class, the SP2 class, battling away for the lead of the race here. Turning their way through Coram now. And Walker having a look up the inside through the right hand, of course that's the outside from Murray's. Is he going to get the switch back? He does. He gets alongside Sam Callahan, and Christian Walker getting the full length of the car back in front. And with probably 3 laps to go then at the end of this, it is the 51 car now that leads the way. Once again, Christian Walker back ahead of Sam Callahan. So a thrilling race this for the victory.
Yeah, doesn't it just fall off Callahan's car there?
Oh, it's still, I can see dragging underneath. You can just about see on the sort of silhouette there. There's something under the front of the car. Now, what that is, I'm not quite sure, but there is something that certainly dropped down underneath it.
Okay, so we'll see how that concludes. We've got 5 minutes of the race to go, and now Christian Walker then back in front. Haven't been able to keep count of the amount of time these two drivers have changed positions during the course of the race. They've been side by side even more than that. But it's 51 then, coming down towards Agostini's the leader, which is Christian Walker. 44 Sam Callahan behind. Rob Hollyman's been in the pit lane, by the way, in the 968 with a problem by the looks of it.
Yeah, I think that's going to be out of the race. Quick rundown on the order possibly. 51 the leader then, Christian Walker. 44 in second place, Sam Callahan. 54 is third, Neil Blakes. 91 in fourth, that's Stephen Archer. 301 in fifth is Fernando Coutinho, and sixth is the 35 car of Daniel Crago and Alvaro Crago. So class SP1 being led by Coutinho, number 301. SP2 by Christian Walker, number 51. SP3 by the Crigos in number 35. SP4 by Carl Rossin and now Gary Campbell aboard that car, I think, number 41 in 11th place overall. And SPDA by Neil Blakes in third place overall.
And yeah, Callahan's dropped a long way back on this lap, hasn't he? So if that is a problem, let's see if Callahan can get it to the end. There is Gary Campbell, isn't it? Former classic stock catcher.
Yeah, that's right.
Who leads class 4, sharing with Carl Rossin. And Gary was a good mate of Ryan Lowry, wasn't he? Who we remember in this championship. He sadly died a few years ago.
Yes, Ryan was very much involved, wasn't he, in Porsche racing and setting this particular competition up as well, and is much missed.
Of course, also we support the Calm charity here as well, don't we, with the All Porsche Trophy?
Yeah, the campaign against living miserably, for focusing on men's mental health in particular. Whose car was that we saw in problem a moment ago?
Well,
was that the 26 car, the Yilmaz car?
Yeah, and also it looked like Callahan was going to come into the pits and then decided not to. But the gap is now 8 seconds. Sounds like he might be struggling for gears, Sam Callahan. But yeah, here's 26 in trouble from 7th position.
Of course, if Sam Callahan can maintain the pace that he's doing, he should still finish in second place, such is the gap back to third. There is the Yilmaz car, so that is now going to be Metin Yilmaz that's driving that car, but sadly it's a retirement from 7th place. And problems there for Sam Callahan. I was going to say, if he can keep going at that pace, he'll take second. If he keeps going at that pace, he won't take second, because he is pulling off onto the grass, and that's a great shame for Sam Callahan, who has driven so strongly in this race. A great battle he was having with Christian Walker, but now on the penultimate lap is out of the race.
A real shame. It sounds as he passed us here that it could have been a gearbox issue, but whatever it is, the car is no longer running.
So that's the 301 car now, which is Fernando Coutinho, the SP1 leader. So that is a car with Callahan being a non-finisher by the looks of it. Neil Blake's still, we think, to make a stop, or possibly have some time added or something at the end of the race. That would promote that car to third overall, as well as leading its class.
So Neil Blake's is going the same pace as the car behind him, isn't he? So we're sure that didn't make a stop.
Well, perhaps we missed it. I'm not quite sure how he's done that then.
Because the Archer car's fallen a long way back, hasn't it?
Yeah.
It was sort of close to Callahan and such in the first stint.
Just a bit puzzled, because I don't think I've not seen Neil Blake's drop down the timing screen at any point during the course of that race. I'd actually stopped right at the beginning or something. Yeah. I don't know.
There is Sam Callahan out of his car, frustrated, I think.
Yes, he's not looking at the happiest Sam Callahan we've ever seen.
There's Callum Lockie, the driver with the fastest lap. He's 8th now.
They did have some white tank tape as well. I've just spotted that. There's some white as well as some red on there.
Perhaps they run out.
Yes. So yes, where did you say he was up to? 8th place. Yeah, that's a good effort, and third within the SP3 class. Last laps board is being shown now to Christian Larson. He's just lapped the number 1 car, which is Trevor Bale now, having taken over from Paul Hicks. That's the car running in 9th position. That's one of the SP1 class cars, and second actually within SP1 today. With a few retirements actually within that class. Jamie McHugh, the Cayley car as well.
Callum Lockie, by the way, with Roger Coy, they're planning to do the Silverstone Club Enduro race. So that's going to be up against a lot more modern and bigger machinery in that race. I don't think they've got their entry in. So Callum Lockie showing good pace here. It's going to be a different kettle of fish, I think, at Silverstone. in that championship.
Yeah, just sort of one more conventional race for the Calm All Porsche Trophy this season. That's going to be on the Anglesey weekend, the 10th and the 11th of September. It's going to be a double header event with two 20-minute races on that occasion. And then, of course, many of the drivers will gather together to create teams to race in the Burkitt 6-hour relay race in October as well.
Yeah, that'd be good to see some Porsches out there, won't it? We still haven't had Neil Blakes across the line for second. Whoa, Callum Lockie is locking up and he's hitting another car, so he's now had an accident. Oh dear, Callum.
Yeah, well, I suspect something probably broke on the car there, because very young Callum Lockie liked to get involved with, I think that was the 35 car, wasn't it? The Craigo car?
Possibly. But it's smoking, yeah, smoking badly, isn't it?
And there's some fluid, I think, coming from underneath. Is that something dragging underneath? Anyway, but the car not looking particularly happy anyway, so Callum's certainly been pushing it hard, hasn't he? Anyway, the checkered flag is being made ready, and it should shortly be going out there to Christian Walker in the number 51 car. Just wait for him to come through. There's the Lockie machine.
Looks like it's going quickly again now. Oh, yeah, it's going, well, quite quickly anyway.
Yeah, relatively so. Just trying to spot where the race leading car is now.
Coming just behind Callum Lockie, just coming up towards Murray's now.
Okay, right.
And on our screen. So here comes John Walker, who started the race well, and Christian Walker's had a good second stint too, involved in some battling.
Yeah, great battle with Sam Callaghan, who sadly not made it to the end of the race, but the checker flag now goes out, and it's Christian Walker with his father John that win the Calm All Porsche Trophy race here at Snetterton. So that's their first win of the season, and it's going to be a relatively convincing win as well. In the end, Neil Blakes, we think, is going to take second place. The one car coming through next, that's a lap down. That's the car that's going to take second with an SP1. Trevor Bale completing the race there. And we'll see who's going to be the next car across the line and which lap they are on. But we did lose quite a few in that race, didn't we?
At the most, we've only got 11 cars running, haven't we?
Yeah, possibly so. So more than, or nearly half of them have expired, unfortunately.
Here's Gary Campbell to win Class 4 with Cole Rossin. So they'll be pleased with that. And a good chunk, I think, ahead of the other 924s.
Yeah, so it should be James Chalambides and Darren Constant second and third within that class.
They all got to the end, so the 924's proven to be reliable.
Absolutely right. And then the next car through is going to be the 30 car. So that's the Sampson's car. So that takes 6th position. And that's a lap down on the race winning car. A couple more cars coming through, including for second and third. That's Neil Blakes and the Stephen Archer car taken over from Felix Archer. They were separated only by 0.3 of a second at the end. 3 different classes represented on the podium then. The SP2 car of Christian Walker, the SPDA car of Neil Blakes, and the SP2 car of the Archers. At which point we should hum the theme tune, I suppose.
And the cars are not going to Parc Ferme, so Kieran might not be catching up with anybody.
Well, that's a shame. We were hoping to hear from all of our different class winners, but none of them clearly want to talk to Kieran McGinley, but we did hear from a few drivers during the course of the race as well.
There's our Class 1 winner going through. So Fernando Gattino with Gary Martin. I think they said that they enjoyed that first outing even more now, I should think, as a Class winner. And who else have we got to come through? The Craigos there in 5th position. So 5 cars, I think, finished on the lead lap. And Callum Lockie did get the car to the end, but that car might need a little bit more work before it goes to Silverstone next month.
Yes, absolutely. To take a couple of biffs during the course of that race, unfortunately. One with Callum at the wheel, and one with his teammate as well, so Roger Coy. So that brings to an end the Calm All Porsche Trophy race for this weekend. 40-minute race won by number 51, John and Christian Walker. From number 54, Neil Blakes in 2nd place. 3rd place went the way of number 91, that's Stephen and Felix Archer. 4th to number 301, that's Fernando Gattino and Gary Martin. In 5th place, number 35, Daniel Craigo and Alvaro Craigo. 6th to number 30, Clayton Sampson and Edward Sampson. 7th to number 60, Roger Coy and Callum Lockie. 8th, classified on screen 8th, but it won't be in the final results, number 44, Sam Callaghan, because he stopped towards the end of the race. So up into 8th place will be number 1, that's the Paul Hicks Trevor Bale car. 9th will be 41, Carl Rossin and Gary Campbell. 10th will be 62, James Chalambides. And in 11th place will be number 42, Darren Constant, and then I'm afraid 10 non-finishers, which is quite a high proportion of those cars that started. So it'll be a little bit of time, I think, before we can get the next race underway. Sam Callahan's car about to be recovered from where it came to rest at the exit of Wilson Hairpin. So he's going to be towed away. I can see, I think, the 26 car. That's going to be connected up as well to be, not the 26 car, the 66 car, the Westbrook and Kirtler car. That's going to be towed away as well. So it'll be a few moments before we can get the next race underway. Sadly, Kieran McGinley, well, he has found somebody to talk to in the end, so possibly we'll be able to hear from Kieran in just a moment. But we will head down there as and when we can. But don't forget, still 2 more races to come this afternoon. We've got the final sprint race of the weekend, the Race Part 750 Formula Championship, their 3rd and final race of the 2 days here, and then the 3-hour Jaguar Club Enduro Championship race. But let's now head down to the pit lane and see who Kieran McGinley has managed to catch up with.
Yeah, I don't really know what I said, but they all started to run away from me. But I have managed to grab the winners of the SP1 class, the 301, and Fernando Gattino. Fernando, well, what a race that was. You were battling, and then the retirements came, and it became a race of attrition.
Yes, I did notice 1 or 2 at the side, and I was thinking, oh, I must be moving up the grid slowly. But, yeah, good race, tough race.
You seem surprised that I dragged you in here for an interview, though.
Well, because at that time, when I got in the car, I think we were P9, so I just thought, well, I'm going to go backwards now. But no, it was a good hard race. Yeah,
congratulations on the class win. Obviously, it was mixed conditions throughout, but how was the track out there?
No, the track was good. It really dried out by the time that I had my stint, so yeah, very grippy. And yeah, the only thing that was a little bit of a worry was the brakes. You know, I think I was leaving it too late, you know, to really slow the car down. But no, kept it in one piece.
Well, congratulations on the class victory, and I'll leave you to go and celebrate with Gary.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Fernando. And with that, my only interview, it's time to size up the next race, which is the Race Part 750 Formula Championship.